Britain's chief investigator into the bombing of Pan Am Flight 103 said today the bomb was smuggled on board in a radio cassette player. Searchers came to that conclusion after sifting through more than 10,000 pieces of the wreckage scattered around Lockerbie, Scotland. The chief detective also said today that the explosive was probably placed aboard in Frankfurt, where the flight originated and where there had been threats. All 259 people aboard the Pan Am flight were killed when it exploded over Scotland December 21st. British Airlines tightened security today because of bomb threats stemming from the Ayatollah Khomeini's anger over the book, The Satanic Verses. Muslim fundamentalists worldwide are gunning for British author Salman Rushdie. They insist his novel defames their religion. Our chief European correspondent, Tom Fenton in London, begins our coverage.
British authorities are taking seriously the threat to bomb British flights to India. The threat comes from a group calling itself the Iranian Guards. And after demonstrations yesterday in Iran, Tehran radio said that volunteer assassination squads are on their way to Britain. Iranian religious leaders have doubled to more than $5 million the bounty they're offering for killing Salman Rushdie. As the controversy over Rushdie's book escalated, the Foreign Office called in Iran's diplomatic representative in London to lodge a protest.
Nobody has the right to incite people to violence on British soil or against British citizens. Ayatollah Khomeini's statement is totally unacceptable.
Khomeini's edict that Rushdie and his publishers must be killed for insulting the Prophet Muhammad threatens to torpedo Iran's efforts to improve relations with the West.
He's losing contact with reality. He's 86, and recently they hardly ever broadcast his voice on Tehran radio. He's becoming something of an embarrassment to them.
Even if some Iranian government officials are reluctant, there's a network of Iranian hit squads in Europe ready to carry out Khomeini's orders. In 1987, an underground cell bombed the car of a leading Iranian dissident in London. Another hit squad here bombed a store distributing anti-Khomeini videos. Tonight, Rushdie and his American wife are in hiding, presumably somewhere here in Britain. Both are under armed police guard. Experts say they may need protection for the rest of their lives. Tom Fenton, CBS News, London.
In the United States, the book is selling out. Viking Press's first printing of 50,000 copies gone. But while in the short run, death threats might be good for the book business, those threats have sent a chill through and raised the hackles of authors who fear the fact that a writer may be killed for what he's written.
Already the fear is growing. There are writers who are not willing to come out and support Salman Rushdie because they're afraid they might be targeted too.
It's extremely scary to find that writers are now potentially on the block, so to speak. It's thoroughly frightening.
Most of the 4 million Muslims who live in this country have not read the book, but they are outraged at what they believe to be the blasphemy against the Prophet Muhammad.
This is not an intellectual exercise. It is purely scandalizing the holy names, scandalizing a personage who is central to a faith.
From London, a Muslim author and friend of Rushdie's paints a bleak picture.
Salman may be safe for the next week, he may be safe for the next 3 months, but this threat will hang over his life for the rest of his life. Muslims are extremely dangerous people when the Prophet has been insulted.
I'm very worried for his safety, and I'm very worried for what this kind of intimidation means for the future of literature.
Authors who are used to speaking through their works are now leaving their typewriters, taking a stand to protect what is yet to be written. Betsy Aaron, CBS News, New York.
Possible new trouble tonight for the John Tower for Defense nomination. More but non-specific inferences about Tower's private conduct are now coming from Kenneth Edelman. He's the man who coordinated President Reagan's U.S. arms control policy while Tower was negotiating with the Soviets in Geneva. Edelman said today that Tower's, quote, lack of discretion proved troublesome, unquote. He gave no specifics, but did say Tower's job performance was not directly affected.